Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Dean Macpherson led an oversight visit to the notorious Telkom Towers building in Pretoria. The building was procured to serve as the SAPS headquarters in 2016. More than 200 million rand has been spent on renovations, but the building remains unoccupied. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi has more.
It's been a month in the office for the new Minister of Public Enterprises and Infrastructure, Dean Macpherson, and we see him just today embarking on this oversight visit at one of the buildings, problematic buildings here in the city of Tshwane. This is the Telkom Towers facility that was brought for over 600 million rand, and we are told that really the minister wants to get to the bottom of why then this building is still dilapidated in this particular state that we find it in, and what needs to be done here to ensure that he intervenes in some of these buildings. This building, we are told as well, that it's not an isolated case, as we see the city as well of Tshwane trying to work with the department to get to the bottom of what has been happening here. We are told, and one of the breaking news coming out of this inspection with the minister is the fact that he's going to be launching an investigation in terms of what happened here. He wants to follow the money and try to get to the bottom of why then this building is still inhabitable as we speak right now, but also saying that this coming through at a time as we see the special investigating unit as well investigating and moving to probe proceedings or happenings at this Telkom Towers building in the city of Tshwane. He was not alone. He was joined by the city of Tshwane Mayor Celia Brink, who will join us now just to give us a sense of what you guys came across. We know that this investigation then becomes very important in getting to the bottom of the buildings that are inhabitable, the criminal activities that have been spoken of in some of these buildings, but also getting to a point of ensuring that at least we have an idea of how services can be delivered without any hamper here. This is just money spent, and we see the minister just talking about and raising concerns around issues of what seems then to be wasteful expenditures as he launches this investigation. Welcome to the SABC, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Inner cities really depend on good property owners, or at least compliant property owners. It affects the quality of life, the safety, the cleanliness. And here in Pretoria inner city, probably our biggest property owner is national government. And the department that does the work for national government is Public Works. So if we have dilapidated, hijacked buildings, it creates unsafe spaces, it contributes to decay. And so I welcome the approach of the minister in respect of this building, but also the rest of the property portfolio of national government here. It will certainly help us and strengthen our hand to clean up our inner city and to also economically reinvigorate it.
Yeah. What is your understanding of what has been happening here at this building, as we hear that there were prohibition orders that were issued out even earlier this year? The department, the SAPS, are saying that their members must move out of this building as it's not safe to occupy. Maybe give us a sense of what has been happening here according to your understanding.
So from the city of Tshwane's perspective, we withdrew the occupation certificate exactly for that reason, because occupational health and safety standards, building regulations weren't being complied with. As for the other things, how the properties were procured, how it came to be that many of the towers weren't occupied and things were carried out there, that is for the probe that the minister has announced to determine. Our job now is going to be to see how we can work with the department to make sure that once these properties are properly occupied, that we give them all of the support they need here and in other instances to make sure we reinvigorate these spaces.
Let's give our viewers an idea of what you came across as you were doing that walkabout with the minister here, seemingly not impressed by the state of this building here, as we couldn't even move to other floors due to safety.
So lifts that don't work, floors that have been occupied by folks involved in criminal activities, unlawful rewiring of the building. We've learned that gym equipment, office equipment, installations have been systematically stripped out of the buildings. Employees who park their cars here find that the cars are stolen out of the parking lot. So really not a good space. But again, the approach taken by this minister to see exactly what's going on, rip off the plaster, that is exactly the right approach. That's the only way you can get to the bottom of it. And from our perspective, although we're an outsider to his departmental decisions, I can only commend it.
Right. And just before we let you go, how has this affected your governance as the City of Tshwane, or the delivery of services, as we see him saying he's going to be zooming building by building in trying to get to the bottom of what has been happening here? It doesn't look like this is the only isolated case. There are a lot of those buildings here within the inner cities that will need to be looked into.
So derelict buildings draw crime and grime. They get hijacked. They lead to waste issues. They lead to crime. It creates a very bad situation for an inner city. And as the capital city, we would want buildings that are safe for human occupation, that are pleasant to look at, public spaces that are clean and safe. So as we systematically take back these buildings from criminals in many instances, but also fix them up and restore them to their proper position, we'll also be cleaning up and safeguarding the inner city. So it's a really, really important project for us.
The role of private property owners.
Those private property owners, in many instances, should also be held accountable, and that's why the City of Tshwane is reviewing our derelict buildings bylaw, so that after all of the proper lawful steps have been taken, the compliance notices and so forth, if a property owner is still not compliant, we can be in a position to take that property away from them in the public interest. Obviously, that will be at the end of a long list of processes, but we are also going to take a far more aggressive approach to non-compliance, especially in the inner city.
Right. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's Tshwane Mayor Celia Brink there, giving us a sense of what he came across. He was with the minister here in this walkabout, and you hear him saying that it's all systems go, the job starts now, and the minister even saying that in 60 days we'll see him just giving us clarity and a line of march in terms of how they're going to attend to this issue of the Telkom Towers building. I'm Katlego for SABC News in Pretoria.